Quorum.
Yes, sir.
Have we established a quorum?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First part of the meeting is a public hearing to further discuss or make aware of the amendment to the alcohol beverage annual renewal license fee. We've had the first reading and approved it. We need to have the second reading and adoption. I think we were all on the same page the first time. Is that still your feelings as to changing it so that the smaller mom and pops will be able to come into business in the town? And the fees will increase when their intake gets greater. They'll have their license fee will go up. Are we still in agreement as to that happening?
Yes.
All right. We will, we're not going to vote on the second reading right now until the meeting open. All right, the minutes to the other meeting is in your packet. First off, for the work session of April the 2nd, 2018. You have had time to look at those minutes. What is your pleasure as to their adoption?
Motion to accept.
Ma'am?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept is second.
Second.
There's a second. Any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raised hand, please. Unanimous. The work session of the council meeting of April the 2nd. What is your pleasure as to its acceptance or denial?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept on the floor. Is there a second? And a second. Any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by raised hand. Unanimous. Call meeting of April the 9th.
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any corrections or additions to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of its adoption as written, please signify by raised hand.
I know if I voted or not, I wouldn't hear from the meeting.
We didn't know.
Ma'am?
Are you for acceptance?
Now, I think we have 4 yeses. Is there a no?
No, it's not no.
Oh, okay. All right. In the public hearing just passed, we talked about the amendment to the alcohol beverage. And we need to vote on the second reading and adoption of that alcohol beverage change. What is your pleasure as to acceptance or denial?
Move we accept.
Motion to accept on the floor.
Second.
Stand a second. Any corrections or additions or reference to? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raised hand, please. Unanimous. In your package, you'll find evidence of a stormwater drain complaint that takes place up here on Tarrantine. It starts with the duplexes and it goes down in the back of people's houses over here, and you can see where it bubbles up. Mr. Sears has looked at it for us, and Mr. Sears, if you would, Brad, give us an opinion as to whose liability and who takes care of it and who pays.
Right. It's my understanding that the town did a drainage project down in that area and installed the catch basin that you see, I guess, in the first photograph that is just behind the right-of-way of the road. And there's a pipe then that extends, and if you'll see in, I believe it's the first picture also, you can see the little blue and white cooler down at the end. All right, just to the right of that, if you look then at maybe the second photograph, or maybe the third photograph, you can see the blue cooler, so you can see about where that area is. On this particular photograph, or the top photograph, also you can't, the tree kind of obscures what is there, but there is the concrete wall that you see in the later photograph that's down at near where the two property lines run together. The end of the pipe then, you see that, well, the end of the pipe then is right in the area where the little plastic trash bag is located, and then in the next photograph you can actually see the end of the pipe. We did check the deed records, did not find any recorded easements, but the general rule is that in a situation like that, unless the property owner has requested that a piping and attached to the facility be done, and when you look at this, you can tell that it was done some time ago. So the implication is that the town actually ran the pipe down to the end. So the city's liability would be the catch basin, the pipes going to the catch basin, the pipes coming from the catch basin down to the riprap that you see, and then anything beyond that point, the open drainage ditch would be the responsibility of the property owner. So in this particular case, there is an area that is draining, that is kind of holding water. And if you look then in the subsequent photograph that Ms. Camp took, you can see that where the ditch was and that how vegetation and other things have kind of gone into the area. You actually see some cut vines and some. So apparently part of that has been cleared, but the ditch has not been drained out. So,
Brad, is it our responsibility to keep that clean so that it will drain beyond that?
no, it'd be the property owner. Absent any other agreement on the record, which we could not find, then it would be the property owner's responsibility to keep that drainage, the open ditch clear.
Right. And since it is a health hazard,
Then we give notice to the owner that he needs to.
then we would actually dictate that he do something, they do something about it. Okay. Anybody have any questions from Brad reference to?
I do. Can we get that in your opinion letter so we can go in
Sure.
the minutes? Okay.
All right, we will, in that case, we will go ahead and handle this with the landowner. And I would personally say that if we can offer any assistance without a lot of expense, anyway, we'll look at it and see. Thank you, Brad. Any more questions reference to that stormwater drain problem? All right, on the personnel issue, that will be handled down in the executive session. So now we're going into old business, speeding on Tarrentine. We have pretty well by consensus on the phone agreed on one of the units. Now, however, the part that I did not get approval on was the fact that there is, if we order batteries, we actually have to order 2 battery packs. 2 come with it, But if you put 2 in there at a time, doubles the life. Now, the reason we hesitate is that figure would run well over my amount that I have the right to order. Because those battery packs are $300 and some odd dollars a piece. And we have to have 2 of them. So I have to come before council to see if you still want to order that unit and that we can move from place to place and that we get 2 extra batteries. Now, if we don't get 2 extra batteries, we can put 1 in there, leave 1 on the charger, but it'll only last a week and it has to be changed out. We got 2, we can leave 2 in there and it'll last 2 weeks and we'll have the other 2 on the charger. So we'll be looking, however, at $600 and something that I would need approval on if you want to do that. So what is your pleasure as to ordering the extra batteries? Well,
I think we should go ahead and order it because the one we originally was going to get was higher priced anyway.
Right,
yeah,
So this one is movable, and I think we need the other batteries as backup.
yeah.
all right.
So we still gonna be coming in cheaper than originally thought from the first one.
Yes, you're right. Could I get a motion one way or the other on that, please? Yeah,
Make a
about
motion that we-
batteries.
I make it motion.
All right, we got a motion on the floor that we order this unit that's transportable from one place to the other, and that we order 2 extra battery packs. That's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raised hand, please. Unanimous. Code enforcement violations. At this point, you'll find in your packets, these are some of the write-ups, reference to the violations.
May I ask a question, Ms. Staley?
Yes, ma'am, Ed?
Which was the one that you were, when I asked about, you said it was gonna cost so very much to get it done? I don't see that one in here.
May I speak?
Yes, please.
The one that has the sticky, it says updated violation, that's the
Oh,
new one.
that's it.
And the one in front of it's the old one.
Oh, okay.
I thought I
Thank you.
sent those in your email and they didn't make.
Thank you.
All right. We will be getting the write-ups on all the others, right?
Not until they approve the amount, because you said it would take about another hour and a half per location to do, and that'd be $97.50 per location extra.
Per hour or,
$97.50 per location.
Per
I mean, it's an
location.
hour and a half, I think it was $65 an hour.
okay,
Or something
for
like
him
that.
to give a full evaluation of each of those
Right,
properties?
yeah, and they will include, anyway, they will include pictures. Anyway, whether you do the expanded version or not.
All right, and so at this point, if we are going to put out funds to that amount, I will need a motion to that effect that we do pursue it and we do give the inspector and pay them for going in detail on these reports. Do I hear a motion that we go ahead and allow that?
Can I ask a question? Is it appropriate, I know you're not supposed to have a discussion until after you make a motion, but I'm confused about what it is, which address it is we're dealing with. And it's only two here, and I think we turned in about 6 or 7 last time.
I just put one as an example.
Ma'am?
I just put one as an example.
Oh,
I
okay,
didn't include all of them.
okay.
Right, and you'll look up at the top left and it'll give you your violation address. This one, that has the sticker on it just happens to be across the street from your house and down one notch.
Yeah, I know where this one is, but this is not the one I thought we were dealing with that large amount to be inspected.
Okay.
May I say something?
Please.
He only went above and beyond on one property, and it's this one. He didn't do it to all of them because he wasn't gonna spend that money without your approval.
So, yeah, it is gonna cost us a little bit, but if we go this far, we want to go all the way and get it done right. So, a motion to the effect that we let him do that would be in order.
Make that motion.
We have a motion that we allow the inspector to write up each violation in detail. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
How many more are we looking at?
About 7.
I need to ask a question of the attorney. How detailed do we need to be if the house is in, obviously from the street, visibly in terrible shape, like the one with the hole in the roof that you can drop a car through practically?
Well, it has to be detailed to the point that puts them on notice what code
Everything,
section.
every single thing you want on it?
Well, whatever the
Well, I
violations
mean,
are.
basically.
Yeah. Whatever is a violation of any of your code sections.
Oh, okay.
So it has to be detailed to that point.
So these naturally always will go cost $400 or $500?
That's what it appears.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, he could do an inspection and come back and tell you nothing was in violation.
Well, that's not likely with these.
But that one that you're referring to, yes, it is going to be expensive. But that's the one that we might, as this town, wind up having to take it down ourselves and paying for it and putting a lien on the property. I hope not, but that is the situation. All right, there is motion on the floor and a second that we allow them to go into the detail. Is any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by raised hand, please. Got it. Unanimous. Okay, thank you. Payroll time clock. At this point, I'm turning it over to somebody else. And I think, Polly, you were looking into that, is that correct?
I am, and I'm gonna make a motion that we table this until the June meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to table. The second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor signify by raised hand, please. Unanimous. Right-of-way cutting. Upon review of our contract and consultation with Mr. Sears, we have the right to roll the contract over at the end of each year. It rolls over. Now, as far as cost, we have been unable to even come close to the cost of what we have now. Now, if there's problems with the cutting, which I understand from talking to one of you that there is a problem with cutting, we simply put them in the car, show them what the violation is, what the problem is, and they take care of it. Not only that, they're right here at our door. They open the fence between the two and go down to the park take care of it. So I don't think there's any way that we're going to beat what we have here now. So my suggestion is, as mayor, is that we leave it alone, roll it over, and if there's problems with the cutting, you call the office, we go down there and put him in the car and show him what it is, and they will take care of it. Now, is there somebody else that wants to talk about this matter adversely?
Yes. They've been cutting our right-of-ways so harem-scarum is a terrible word to use, but it's some places a little bit, some places a lot. Several times, I've got a picture of a disabled lady on Tarrentine that is out cutting the right-of-way, and that one's been reported 3 times to my knowledge. In fact, she was at the picnic here on a walker. I guess she's using the lawnmower for a walker. And they just don't do a good job. What they do well. But they don't do it, it's ununiform.
Not consistent.
It's not consistent. It's just, for instance, down on the corner, the property undercuts is, the lawn people cut this, and we've got a streak here, probably 3 foot wide, that's got weeds this high. It looks terrible. Yard has not, it's not looked good since King Landscape came. And these people have been warned, and you keep telling us that they need to be told again and again, and spring shear again, so the new people are there. But that's not our responsibility. It's ours to keep our lawns, our right-of-ways, and our yards looking good.
Right. Well, I think
Well, not
that
yards, they don't take our yards.
correcting the problem with the existing company, if they have done a good job in the past, is much, much easier and cost-effective than bidding the whole thing out again and everything going up, because that's exactly what's going to happen because of fuel cost increase. The contract would go up. So my suggestion is just that we do the same thing that I did last year, year before last, and year before that, is showing what the problems are, and they will correct it.
But they have to be told every month. It's the same problem.
They don't, well, we didn't in the past. So,
My thing is they have a contract saying where they need to cut. I mean,
They do. They've got a contract. In
Right,
fact, it
that's
says
what I'm
they're
saying.
supposed to cut minimum
we shouldn't have
60
to show
inches
them.
cut on all roads.
right,
And they cut sometimes 36, 60 on occasion, 48 sometimes. It's never consistent through the town.
right.
And they've been told and told and told.
The one that you're referring to, I understand, because we did the same thing last year, and we took care of it for the lady all the way up to that little wall. And I think that put Jimmy in the car, we can do the same thing again. Any other places that you see, write them down and report them, and we'll take care of it.
That will take somebody, every time they cut, go around and look.
Now, if you see it, you don't
You can't
have to
miss
go
it.
around. If you see a problem, let us know. But I don't think that you want to rebid this whole thing right now. It is not gonna be cost effective and certainly not productive as far as us being able to have someone right here at hand to work with us.
Maybe the owner could come to a meeting. Well, that would be a suggestion.
I'm sorry, I
I
can't.
said maybe the owner could come to a meeting of
Yeah.
the lawn care.
Yeah, that would work. He'll be glad to come over and we can tell him what the problem is.
I mean, a council meeting.
Yeah. Mhm.
If
Yes,
he
sir.
wants a job, why would he not be willing to put in another proposal?
right.
You can, but I'm telling you, if we rebid it, I would almost bet you that we'll have to rebid it to everyone. And if we do, it's going to be higher. And we're gonna have to start all over with another company if that be the choice. But we're not going to beat the service that we get from them once we get them on the right track. What they've done with the park and what they continue to do with the park is second to none. They're right here, all they gotta do is walk through the gate and take care of it.
That's another thing. There's the park we went this weekend, the weeds they're everywhere.
And in that case, when you see that, it's exactly what you're doing now, you know, as well as know that there is weeds, and had it last year, and because it was new, there was weeds then, and they did take care of them then, so yes, they will take care of it.
I'm curious to see how everybody else feels, so I'm gonna make a motion that we get proposals, new proposals from all companies, and particularly invite this company to participate if they're interested. I'm making that motion.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I second it.
There's a motion on the second. Is there further discussion? I will go on record as saying that I think it's a bad move, and I think that we will regret it. I've been too close to this situation for too long, and I know that we're not going to beat the service, but is there any further discussion?
How long have we had them?
Ma'am,
How long have we had them lawn service?
that one, 3 years?
To the contract.
Yeah, with,
I think so.
April 16, 2016.
I think we'll try to fix the problem before we rebid it.
Yeah.
Do what?
I think we
It
should
would
try to
be,
fix the problem with them before we rebid it.
it
They're not under
would
contract anyway.
be, it
A
would be,
month contract, what I understand.
it would be so much easier to correct what we have, that little bit, than it would be to bid out to everyone again. Ma'am, you had a comment? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm not up to date on what the complaints are, but it's springtime, we had, a pretty spring, the weeds are just now really getting a hold and growing. So, and I haven't observed the town, but, really looked at everything, but it's time for the weeds to grow, and they're just now getting up, in my opinion. They're supposed to be, and I understand what you're saying, they got a contract, they're supposed to cut this, that, and the other, but I'm thinking it may be a little premature to accuse them of not doing such a good job. I don't have any problem with my yard's cut good. And I agree with the cost is gonna go up, you know, when you're sitting out there.
And another question is,
It's gonna happen.
you may have answered it, what kind of current contract do they have? Because normally that has a cancellation or termination clause within it that we have to abide by.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
What's their current contract? Is it a month to month or is it a year-long contract?
It's a year-long. Mr. Sears looked at the contract.
The park the agreement that I saw for the park was is on a month-to-month basis.
Okay.
All right, with no specified term. The right-of-way maintenance agreement actually ended in 2017.
Okay.
So.
That's last year.
You know, I'm assuming that any cuts that have been made at either one of those locations have been on a month-to-month basis.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so the recommendation was just per the original contract that had a term was 30 days notice, either side could terminate. So my suggestion was to give 30 days notice, going to terminate if you were going to rebid the contract.
What's that?
Otherwise, sit down with them and see if you could extend it.
Fred, I think you had a current experience with this company.
Yeah, they're doing work in the city now.
Yeah. And you said that they had worked on a larger bid. Is that one you were talking about?
It's the landscaping for the new McIntosh Parkway.
For the McIntosh Parkway, and of all the
But it's
bids-
not a maintenance agreement. Now, it's
It's
simply,
installation.
it's the installation, furnishing the materials and install.
Okay. But after their review, this is the company that they settled on.
Yeah, they were.
Right.
But they don't have somebody come out and check behind them, I'm talking about the supervisor at their company. or whoever's doing it, or the owner, or whoever comes out and looks at it and wants
Yeah.
y'all's contract?
Yeah, if we call, the owner or, the Jim, the first-hand man, they'll come in and they'll ride around with me, they'll do whatever they have to do. They're very cooperative, and like I said, I go on record as saying, this is, if we change, it's gonna be a bad move, so that's my opinion. Any further comments?
Another thing we could do is if you do sign a new contract with them, put a clause in there that they ride around after they cut to make sure everything's done.
That's, all we have to do is add that to the existing, yes, you're right.
You know it's not gonna go down, it's gonna go up, unless another company comes in and beats their price. But if you've got the current contract and you know what the price is, and you're gonna have the advantage, I think, of what you bid that job out at. In other words, you know, why would you drop it? You're not gonna drop the price, you're gonna keep it the same or maybe increase it. So any way you go at it, it's bound to be increased.
Right. I will guarantee you, if we rebid the whole thing, it will go up.
They don't
Yeah.
halfway do.
You have a comment, Mr. Tillman?
Just a question, I think I may already know the answer to it. There are a group of us, small group, quiet group, that's going around and cut some people's grass and cut some people's ditches. Will that undermine what you're trying to do?
A little bit louder, I'm sorry.
There are a few of us have gone around and cut some people's ditches and cut some old ladies' grass. Will that undermine what you were trying to do? I mean, are we gonna get in your way
No,
with your lawn care company?
I don't see how,
Okay.
but, yeah. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motions on the floor, and, Polly, if you will, restate your motion.
New proposals for the right-of-way maintenance is a motion I made.
That it be
I move
rebid. That it be rebid.
New proposals, not necessarily a closed bid.
No, he said a new bid, rebid.
It's a rebid.
Yeah, okay.
So, the motion was to do a new bid.
Have opened for proposal from
From
these
everybody.
and additional companies that are interested in right-of-way maintenance in the town of Sharpsburg.
Okay, I thought that's what the motion was.
Question from the floor.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that gonna include the park, or is this just right away?
Whatever y'all, no, park's good, all of it.
Or, I mean, just
All of it,
your
all of
bid,
it.
whatever you want, I just need
Please
clarification.
add that,
Add it to it.
please.
Do what now? Let me know what this,
It would be all grass cutting, correct, Donna?
Yes, ma'am, that they currently do the
That's
park
all
and the
right-of-way
right-of-ways.
maintenance and all lawn and grass maintenance in downtown of Sharpsburg.
everything that they do now around town, the park, playground, and the library. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
That is the motion on the floor. There is a second. Any further discussion?
I just got one last thing. I can't help, Polly, I ain't trying to, go against you. Any man that owns a business is prepared to get his vehicle and ride around and review the job so to see if it's done properly is a good businessman. And if he's prepared to fix what we say is wrong, then I don't see anything wrong with the man's business. Thus, you know, why replace him if you like the price, you know? So.
Well, that's my opinion. If they can correct their problem, we don't have to rebid it, we don't have to go up on the price. Hey, you can't beat a deal like that. But there's a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor of the motion, as read, please signify by a raised hand. All opposed? Are you abstaining?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm abstaining.
Can't abstain. Can you do that?
You just asked me.
Can you do
I
that?
don't know, I see
You just
both.
Because you don't wanna vote?
I
don't
agree.
know.
Oh, what?
Unless you have a conflict,
No, I don't.
then
I just, yeah.
Can we return
I
to
see
discussion since we're not in a,
Yeah, I see.
hasn't been a decision?
I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't.
Am I out of order if I ask, can we have a little bit more discussion?
Yes, but I will allow it.
I would just recommend or suggest that we give the contractor 60 days to solve the problem that you've brought up. Because Polly obviously does have a concern, sounds like a valid concern. And I don't see a rush to judgment being required. We're talking grass and weeds.
I think that's a very valid.
May I amend my motion then, Mayor?
Yes, you may amend.
I would like to amend it to suggest that we give them 60 days to get the grass cut according to their original agreement. And at that time, if they have had any complaints, and I'll take a picture for you, that's not part of the motion. We get somebody else. We open it for proposal.
All right, we have an amended motion on the floor.
Thank
Is
you,
there a
ma'am.
second to that amendment?
Now, that's kind of convoluted. Can we simplify that a little bit?
Yeah, that we leave the contract alone. The motion is that we leave it alone, but if we have a problem, we give them 60 days to correct that problem. And in that case, if they don't do it, then we can move on with a full bid out to the public. That is what I understand, right?
Except, I mean, no, from now, we're giving them 30 days from right now at this meeting. We give them 30 days to follow the contract as it is originally written, including the park. And
Well, she's motioning 30,
So now we-
so
It's
she's.
60 or 30.
No, I think we went
whatever,
on
60, whatever the lady
60 to
suggested
30.
was a good idea.
All right, you said 60, is it 60 or
Well,
30?
whatever, 60
Well, it's
days.
your motion.
From right, oh, let me start over again. I move that we give the present company, Arbor Springs, 60 days to follow their original contract. And if they do not, we then put it out for bids.
Right, very clear.
Is that with no complaints or
They
correction?
gotta follow the directions.
So there's no
They're supposed to be
complaints at
done
all?
already.
Pilot will check.
Huh?
Pilot will check.
I'll check.
Well, by the way, they also don't cut mine right away, right either. I haven't for years.
Don't you
That's
love
why I
it?
asked you.
Well,
for
actually,
years.
ours,
Yeah.
should follow that, because this follows on the DOT. We're just lucky to do.
So I was lucky?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm lucky, sometimes they don't need to touch it then because they can come in the right away and just do a
Well,
and make it look
is
ridiculous,
that
they
part
need
of
to
it?
leave it
I didn't
alone.
read, is 154 part of it?
It's right, well, yeah.
Well, I mean, even though it's DOT covers that though, but
Well, no, they don't do it very often.
not do it twice either.
All right.
That's all right.
But I mean, is that covered under the?
If
We
it's
got,
right
we
away,
have a
yeah.
motion on the floor. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I think it would be good for the owner or whoever to attend our next council meeting too.
That's,
Yes, good idea.
all right. All in favor of the motion as amended, please signify by raised hand. Unanimous. All right. We're going to go into public comments at this time. And we'll start as usual over on the left side. Any public comment? Nope. Mr. Blue.
If you look at the radar sign, you'll see on here under line 3, they are turning over data to us,
Yes.
which we can then use to take to the sheriff.
Yes.
Say, Mr. Sheriff,
Yeah.
please enforce, increase, whatever you need to do to slow them down. Instead of getting an extra battery pack, would it be cheaper to have a solar thingy on the top of it to recharge it as it goes?
That one doesn't have, that sign doesn't have the availability. If we go to the solar, we go up to the next one, which weighs 75 pounds and takes 2 to 3 guys, 30 minutes and a ladder to change. That's why we went with this one.
Gotcha. And what about GPS if a troublemaker absconds with our new equipment? Is there any way to track it down?
You suspicious?
Well, not that I wasn't once a troublemaker, but, you know, just out of curiosity.
You've heard of one.
I have heard of troublemakers.
It probably has a GPS. Not to follow.
You put a launch in and anchor on it.
Well, it's
Got a pit bull?
bolted on very good.
Okay.
Bolted?
All
Okay.
right,
And then the last question, the code violations, was that just personal property or was that commercial property as well?
right, going back to public comments, Blue. Sir, ma'am,
Are you pointing me, Wendell?
please.
Okay. On your alcohol thing, I don't know if this has been stricken, is why it wasn't filled out, but on number 3.
It's
it-
15,000.
It was
Okay.
added.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's changed on mine, but it's 15,000. So that, if they do that much business,
More than 15,000.
Yes, ma'am.
So is that gonna be on the one you signed?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will, the one above goes up to 15, and that one starts at 15.
And this is supposed to be 2018. It's January 13th, 2014.
That was when the original one.
That was,
took place.
yeah, that
Okay.
was the original.
Okay.
That one's not pertaining to her. Yes, ma'am, further comments? Do you have any,
No, I don't.
ma'am?
I think
Yeah,
this
I got
one.
Oh, okay.
About the new housing that's coming in to Sharpsburg, the new 400 something acres they gonna develop.
Right, actually, it won't be in Sharpsburg, sir, it'll be in Sharpsburg mailing address, but it won't be in Sharpsburg. In the long distance future, 12 of those houses will be classified as it touches Sharpsburg, it will be in. But the 400 and something, no, sir, that's not in Sharpsburg, and we have no control over it.
Okay.
Yes. Ma'am?
No, I'm not, thank you.
No?
I wanted to mention that this Friends of Sharpsburg group that we put together, one of the things that we've decided to do is put on a series of talks. And you and I talked about the Indians. Tentatively, we're going to start off on the 15th of June with the first presentation, and then follow it up 1 a month for the next 6 months, and then kind of either run from there. I just want to let y'all know that that was in the pipeline.
What is lined up for that particular meeting?
The first meeting will be a talk on the Paleo Indians, Archaic Indians in this area,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll follow that up a month later with a gentleman who's an expert on the Creek Indians, and then we'll go from there, kind of broaden the topics out.
Good.
We started off with those topics simply because we got the folks in town that can do it.
Great. Thank you so much. That ends the public comments, so at this point, I'll hold the council, starting, Holly, anything
Nothing.
other than what we've already talked about?
Nothing that we haven't already discussed.
The old business about the container on the corner of 154 and 54.
Yeah.
What did they say about it?
Well, like I said, we haven't go through the channels because we don't want to move it, so we don't have to do it forcefully.
So is it this violation?
You know, it is a violation,
Yes,
yes.
sir. It looked like it had some kind of lock on it that it can't be open or something.
Yeah, well, he
It's sealed.
keeps his merchandise stored in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how long we gonna give him for, I guess,
Well-
the code enforcer?
Uh, It would probably be under 60 days, is that, do you remember?
Oh, he'll have to go back and rewrite them all since y'all have now voted on it, and then we'll submit it to him. But Mr. Sears, we're gonna turn them over to him, and he's gonna mail them or
Okay.
do his thing.
All right. At this point, we need to go into executive session for reference to personnel matters, and I made a motion to go into executive session.
I'm going to go into executive session.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor signify by raised hand, please. Unanimous. Audience, we will have to go into the office. When we get back, there is a possibility that there could be votes for what happened in there, but it could be that when we come out, there will be nothing and we'll just adjourn the meeting. So you have the right to sit and wait, or we'll be back as soon as possible. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll adjourn to the clerk's office, please.